This is a very powerful scene. I know you've talked about connecting with that scene through thinking about your own daughter.
Yeah.
Did that happen prior to doing the scene? Does that happen in the moment?
No, I often, on intense or emotional scenes, I often write out the possibilities of what could happen, just so that I process it and put it out there. So I write it down, and in this case, it was like, as we saw, the conflict of humanity and pragmatism and control and all those things are rushing through him. The first impulse was human. When he heard her choking, he was like, "Oh my God, help her!" By the time he goes around to the bed, wait a minute, don't do it. Now that time sets in. If I let her die, then my partner won't be influenced by her anymore, and maybe he'll live because she got him on heroin.
Right.
She's a bad influence, clearly, and it's also, she's impeding our process and our progress in our enterprise. So all these things I'm going through, and I'm writing all these things, why I should save her, why I should let her go, and one of them was, I should save her. She's young enough to be my own daughter, and while Kristen Ritter was going through that, and off screen, choking on her own vomit, for an instant, her face went away, and I saw the face of my own daughter choking to death, and that's when it's like, ooh. And you have to process yourself through it, because I do believe that the body doesn't know what you've manufactured and what came naturally.
Right.
I put that in the universe to possibly happen, and it happened. And that's what the emotional risk that actors go through is you have to put yourself in that vulnerability, because when you do, really wonderful things can happen. And vulnerability is the key component to drawing empathy from an audience. And so at that moment, when they can see that I'm torn up about this, and yet I'm battling internally, and then the final moment I thought was, get over it. You know, and we're starting to see Walter White change, harden. We're starting to see him become more of a domineering force, right. And that was those steps toward that.
It's all there. It's all on your face.
You know what else
was
interesting?
Yeah.
Is that this was season 2, episode
10 or 12, I think. Yeah.
Vince Gilligan first wrote that I see her and I'm so angry at her that I push her on her back so that she would choke to death. And the network went, no, it's too soon.
Right.
And Vince, to his credit, listened and said, yeah, maybe it is too soon. So we talked about it, and he came up with another scenario, and this one I thought was the best because it was indirect. Yes, my jostling of Jessie forced her, but I didn't notice what happened to her.
Right.
I was focused on Jessie, and that movement jostled her back on her back. And so I'm indirectly responsible for it.